1 in 14 people knock this over on game. And the key here is to have your first bounce hit on this front lip to reduce the kinetic energy enough that it won't bounce back out. About 1 in 10 throws will win on this game, according to our observations. And now this brings us to the final category of the near impossible games, and there are 3 of them. On this first one, the goal is to shoot out this red star completely with this automatic BB gun. So the best strategy is to basically shoot a circle around the star to cut it out. Not only are the guns not accurate or precise, but the bigger issue is that you start out doing really well because there's enough surrounding paper for the BB to easily rip through like this. But Newton's third law tells us that you can only push on something as hard as it can resist your push. So at the end, you have these barely supported pieces of the star that just move out of the way when the BB comes without building up enough stress to rip the paper. Out of 120 plays, we saw nobody win this game all day. The spring bottle game is also impossibly difficult. Again, it's a lightweight object that's really bouncy to encourage randomness, but the actual inner diameter of the ring is really close to the outer diameter of the bottle. This means that any throw besides this pretty much perfect one will send the ring bouncing away without settling in on the bottle. If you really want this bear, I suggest going on Amazon and getting it for $47. I literally can't tell you how much money this will save you, because of the 840 rings we saw thrown, none stayed on the bottle. Which brings up sort of an obvious rule of thumb. If you want the feeling of winning a game, do not stop at any booth that offers really big prizes. And for the final near impossible game, let me reiterate that as a carnival owner, the most lucrative games are those which the customers overestimate their chances of success. No game is a better example of that than the ladder climb. There's a subtle issue with this game that I think people realize but don't internalize the significance. The ladder converges to be supported on the wall at 1 point instead of 2. If it was attached at 2 points, it's like crawling across a rope bridge, which is pretty easy. Let's pretend this is you, and if you shrunk all the weight of your body down to the average location, we call that spot the center of mass, which we'll mark with this dot. And once again, we can double check this is the right spot because it balances perfectly on one finger. If you draw imaginary lines connecting the different support points, that creates an area. And as long as your center of mass dot is within that area, it's impossible to fall off. But as soon as your center of mass dot is even a little bit outside of the area of supports, you start to rotate and fall off. And this is true no matter which way you orient it. If you've ever bent over to pick something up, you actually know this fact, whether you realize it or not. In this case, the region of support is between the back of your heels and the tips of your toes. When you reach over, you will naturally move your butt back to keep your center of mass in between those support points. If you don't believe me, try picking something up while standing against the wall so you can't move your butt back. At the very moment your center of mass gets beyond your toes, you start to tip over. In the case of the ladder game, you're only connected at 1 point. So even though it looks wide because the ladder runs, that area of support reduces down to a line. So if you don't keep your center of mass directly above that line, you will start to rotate and fall off. In other words, to win this game, you basically need to be able to crawl across a tightrope. And you might think, well, I can do a slackline, so I can do this. But a slackline is actually much easier for 2 reasons. You can flail your arms and legs out to adjust your center of mass to keep it directly above that line of support. And your center of mass is higher, increasing your mass moment of inertia, making you more stable. In the same way, it's easier to balance this umbrella when it's extended versus when it's collapsed. So while there are a few videos that say tricks like maintain 3 points of contact, they're all basically useless because keeping your center of mass directly above a line is just something you have to get a feel for, and that takes a lot of practice. But once you've had enough practice, this is the one game at the carnival that's basically all skill, so you can win every time and clean them out. Unfortunately, the carnival owners know this, which is why it's also the only game with this super link caveat. So now that we were carnival experts, I called up my buddy Matt Winokur, who was recently just drafted to play baseball for the New York Mets, to maximize our chances of winning any skill game that had to do with throwing. So clearly Matt had a deadly lock on any throwing game, but basketball is more my game. So to finish off the day, I decided I would bring his ego back into check. But as it turns out, if you are a world-class athlete in one sport, you are a really, really good athlete in all sports. So in conclusion, you should play the games if you think they're fun. Just know the odds are heavily stacked against you, so if you lose, it's NBD. Unlike this guy who lost his entire life savings playing carnival games. games. And if your motivation is to gain the love and admiration of someone special via a stuffed animal like this, you don't need Carnival Games to do that. Amazon works totally just as well. I just bought this for you, my lady. I like to learn new stuff. I recently got a new camera, but user manuals are lame. So I went online to Skillshare.com, who are also kind enough to support this video, and I followed along.
Suck today.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so from the last drop, we had a handful of people who bought everything on the site, and as I promised in the last merch drop video, I'm going to fly someone who bought every merch item piece. So he's from Massachusetts, his name is Joshua. I DM'd him and I was like, hey, what's your number? And so we're just going to do a surprise call right now and let him know that he's coming out to Los Angeles. We're not going to ask him, we're letting him know. Okay, here we go. What up, bro?
Going.
Huntington, Massachusetts. No, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So you trying to come out to Los Angeles or what?
Yes.
So I just want to say thank you, first off, for purchasing merch items. Really dope that you got everything. And I'd like to invite you over for a few days to come hang out.
For sure. And also, the merch was awesome, so I can't help but buy it all.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I wear it like every single day.
Fuck yeah, dude. Thank you, man. I really, really appreciate that. Have you ever been to Los Angeles?
I've honestly never been to anywhere but Florida. So,
I'll keep you updated, like, with the exact date.
alright, that's good with me.
Oh, yeah, dude. Can't wait to meet you.
Alright, yeah, same.
You did it. I just called him out of the blue. Nice to know that I have cool subscribers. Got this stupid ass haircut, and I have to wear this beanie for like 3 weeks. I don't think I've ever gotten a haircut that I've been like stoked on. Like, I don't think I've ever been like, yeah, I'm really stoked on this haircut. It's always like, alright, how bad is it gonna be this time? Or like, it's not too bad. I can deal with it. I've never been like, yeah, this haircut is really sick. All I know is I'm excited for this meal.
It's probably not that bad.
As long as I have wafers, everything's gonna be okay. Yes. Do not let me have another one of these. I'm addicted and I need to stop. Let me have one.
Just told me not to.
I was fucking hungry to have one. My favorite thing is the disappearance of the smile. Why is that shit so funny? Forget about what I said. A half of a half and then I'm done. And don't give me any for the rest of the day. Oh, fuck. Damn it, Jaime, I said don't fucking give me another piece! Johnson's still in? Oh. 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 Just film everything, like, under, like, right there. Like, the entire vlog. Alright, sick. Can you tell me what time it is? 3:32 p.m. Restaurant was wearing a jacket that had his full name on it, Caleb Chung. He looked him up on Instagram and found him. He took a picture of him and sent it to him. Now I'm gonna post it on my stories. Come back here. That's him. That's Mr. Google. I was wondering if we could like maybe trade cars.
Here's the thing,
This is a Camry 99. Oh, it's a Ferrari. Yo, this is kind of a sick car. I can jump over this shit. Can I touch it?
My dick in my pants. My bitch don't love me no more. Ay, she kick me out, I'm like, bro. Ay, that bitch don't wanna be friends. Ay, I give her this, she a man. Ay, she put her 10 on my dick. Ay, look at my wrist about 10.
Damn, it's almost like my 99 Camry.
It goes ahead, you make me fucking nervous. He's still on the roof?
What? Did you call the fire department?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Hey, buddy.
Sorry, too fat to fit in the other way. Bro, that is so scary. It was like slipping. If it was like a flat roof, then yeah, I can kind of see that. Dogs do that. Did you call the fire department?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, go back inside.
Hey, about snacks or anything? That sounds like a great way to get a short little fat dog to fall over. He went for the bacon, he missed it, and he rolled right off.
Get us the fire department.
Rescue mission.
So you can get up onto the roof?
I told a couple people to make sure that he doesn't get scared and run off. If I can get on the roof, just put him back inside. Well, I don't know if that's the better thing to do.